Hello, guys. It's Mark Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, and I'm just trying to get onto the other link for the table. We'll see if I can do that, and if I can, everything's going to be great. So hang on. It's an interesting adventure. I'm trying to do it on my old computer, which is moving extremely slowly. So hi, Zickie. Good to see you there. And we'll be dealing with everybody in just a moment as we get this going. Come on, guys. This computer is moving so slowly. The other computer. Here, Elaine, you can take this back.
You sure?
I think so. I'm just trying to get this going, and it's not opening for some odd reason. I do not know why. Should be opening. It's just circling the field. Hold on a second. Let's see. Can you move that lamp over here? That'd be great. Okay, guys. Hi, David. I'm just trying to get onto the table. My other computer is giving me a little bit of trouble. So, I don't know what the problem is here. It's just not working. All right, we'll try this. Okay, hang on. God, computers, ag. Okay, here's Gmail. Okay, trying to make this work. Okay. Here's the Zoom meeting. Oh, wait, finally, there, it just came up. Let's see if this works. Hold on, guys. Something's not right, it says. It's true. Hi, guys. Sorry about this. Hang on. We'll get everything going in 1 second. Just trying to see. Wow. Just hang on 1 second, guys. Sorry about this. Oh, man. There. And open this. Trying to open this. Yikes. Hold on. Wow. This is just sluggish as hell. Hold on. Hi, guys. Sorry about this. It'll just be 1 minute. Just trying to play catch up, and that's not easy. Aha. Okay, hold on. Later. There. I think this is going to work, but we'll see. Later. Okay, it's trying to launch. That's trying to launch. So, cancel. Okay. Later. Oh God. Launch meeting. Okay. None of this stuff is working. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay. Wow. Okay, that's not going to work. This is not working either, interestingly enough. Meeting. Computer audio. Shh, guys. Hi, guys. Hello. Let's see. Hold on. Open Zoom US. There we go. There we are. Let's see.
There's Mark.
Yeah, I can't see myself. Where's the video? Start video. Okay, there. And okay. Hi. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, good. So, Jesus, this has been a bit of a trial. Okay, here we are.
Here she is. Okay, guys, you're here.
Yes. Okay. So, hi, everyone. And Mr. Sci-Fi here, too. So, I don't know. Who do you want to start with? Do you want to start since you're the master of the revels?
Large on our screen. You're right big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're very large.
I mean, you're
Large
small
Marge.
over here and big on our screen.
I would like to not go first because I want to get a groove on with Mr. Sci-Fi because I'm doing that tonight.
Okay.
Great.
So let's see. How about you, Rhonda? Do you want to take your turn?
Sure. Well, I'm Rhonda Reese, and I am a PR person. And tonight I brought a guest, Jennifer Biederman.
Oh, good.
Okay.
And Jennifer is, she has recently graduated, and she is a film editor and also a social media poster. And
Oh.
I told her
Oh.
about the table, and I think this would be a perfect fit for her.
Great.
So I'll
Great.
let her do her thing.
Okay, cool.
Great.
That
Well-
sounds great.
But since you're here, Rhonda, what is there anything that you need personally, or?
Oh, well, I need a lot of things.
Okay.
Well, I step in here and there for various things, and recently I was able to get Mark a radio show at Comic Pop Library regarding Space Command,
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
and I think that went pretty well, and I know they
Yeah.
want another appearance.
Oh, cool.
So, that will be good. And I'm doing a little project right now for table member David Rakelin and
Mm-hmm.
another woman named Ashley Maria, and they have shot a music video during COVID, and it was shot on various continents. And but so during the pandemic, they were able to put this whole thing together, and it's offering hope, and it's a really interesting musical odyssey from all over the world, and it's so I've been sort of helping out a little bit with that to try to get some publicity on that. We've got some things coming up.
That's great.
And-
Are you familiar with Playing for Change?
No.
Oh, look up Playing for Change. It started
Sure.
several years ago. It was promoted through Starbucks, but they have top musicians from all over the world who they record, and they all have
Okay.
headphones, and they manage to put it all together, building and building and building.
Yeah.
But if you, it's,
So I just got this one going.
oh, okay. So if you go on the network,
Uh-oh.
what would be the best way for her to get Playing for Change?
YouTube.
YouTube.
Just type it in.
Yeah,
Okay.
type it in, Playing for Change, because that
Okay.
might give you some ideas, because they're very successful. And yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so please go on. Beyond that.
And then there's one more project I'm working on
I've
for the
got it
end
on
of
this computer,
September
you
with
can-
another table member,
Yes.
a fellow named Brett Salamano, and
Mhm.
he is a Hollywood stuntman and also a motivational speaker.
Cool.
And he's putting together an event, sort of a Just Drive event, and he's going to be going for a Guinness World Record.
Hmm.
He's going to be driving the truck backwards to promote safety, and we're also
wow.
trying to honor first responders with COVID, and
Mm-hmm.
he is, it's going to be quite a thing to get the Guinness people involved. So
Mm-hmm.
it just so happens that during this COVID time, there's a lot going on with the table.
Wow.
So,
That's great.
That's great.
and one more client I have is a 75-year-old fitness dynamo woman that is teaching people how to stay safe, healthy, and fit during COVID indoors when they're stuck at home.
Huh.
And she's really something. And I've been getting her some publicity and things. It's just come out with a new book. So and she also changed an NCAA rule
Wow.
Wow.
some
That's
years
great.
ago. But at 75, this woman isn't slowing down. And as it turns out, another table member just shot a video of her.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mhm.
great.
That's great.
That's great. So
congrats.
do you need help with any? I mean, they all sound interesting. Do you need assistance with any of those projects, or they all sound great?
Possibly. They kind of come and go, and I do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and also on a personal note, my brother suffered from an unexpected brain injury
Oh my
Oh
God.
dear.
months ago, so I've been helping with that too. So between all that and the PR and other things, with my home burned down last year, and I rebuilt, and I had
Gosh.
to sell my
Wow.
land and rebuild something. I might be going back, so I've got a ton of things right now.
Yes. Well, that's wow. Well, we're here if you need us. And
Yeah. No.
so and now your guest. What was which one is your guest,
Oh,
Rhonda?
Jennifer Biederman.
Ah,
She
Jennifer.
was the daughter of of a guy named Jerry Biederman,
Ah.
and he and his wife, her mother, wrote some books that ended up becoming very important with the Oprah Winfrey Network.
Wow, that's great.
Years ago, the Angel Network or something.
Sure.
Is that right?
Wow, cool.
And I went to a high school youth group with her father, and I hadn't seen him in 40 some years, and I decided to look him up and see what was going on, and then I met Jennifer. So
Wow,
Well, that's
comes full
cool.
circle.
cool.
That's great. That's,
well,
great.
That's great. So, well, terrific. Well, 3 cheers. Yay,
Yeah,
Rhonda.
no, very good. But
So,
I'm really glad about the safety thing because safety is important. But anything that could relink up the police with the community,
Mhm.
And just say, hey, why don't we all get together and work on this together? That
Mhm.
sounds like a
Well, they're
perfect
asking
timing.
people to take a pledge and to not do the cell phones, to not eat, to not do anything that would distract people while they're driving
Mhm.
for the month of this driver safety
Cool.
awareness month. And I just sent something to the table members with a little bit more details if they want to get involved with the plan.
oh, great.
Okay, great.
Terrific.
That's
So
wonderful.
great. Well, 3 cheers. So,
Yay.
David Bartlett, is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question?
There is. From
Okay.
AS494.
So you can close
Would you
that.
like to see a Discovery or Pike Discovery episode dealing with a race riot aboard ship? Allegory to the race riot on Kitty Hawk during Vietnam or assault of military like tail?
Well, I mean, the trick always with a good Star Trek story is that it not just be a literal. If it's too literal, hang on a second, David. Elaine, you can close that out and do whatever. We're doing. Oh, that's weird. Hold on a second.
Okay.
It's weird. I've got Elaine's computer
I
married
think we
to
better
this.
stick with this.
No. I think we can do this. Here we go.
Okay.
That should work. Yes, it did. Okay, now you can see me, David. Can you see me on the table meeting? Uh-oh, I can't hear you. Why can't I hear you? What happened here? That's weird.
I think we need
Can you
both.
hear? I can't hear you, and you can't hear me. That's very strange. All of a sudden. Oh God.
Let's just. Can you get this back?
No, I can, but I'm trying to figure out. Oh wait, let's see. Let me. That's disabled. Why is that disabled? I have no idea. Heck. Well, fuck. I don't know.
So let's get it back to you.
Okay, hang on a second. We'll get this going. Hold on. Oh man, this is one of those nights. Jesus Christ.
Hello, David.
Just one of those nights.
Okay.
What?
We're trying. But yeah, he's trying to get back to the
Mr.
other.
Sci-Fi is up and
Yeah,
running.
Mr. Sci-Fi. He's trying to get back to the
I
other
just
thing.
cannot get this to work tonight.
So he's just having the reception in our apartment is
It's-
kind of glitchy.
I don't
So
know.
he was trying to, but he'll try and get it back.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Well, meantime, is there a Mr. Well, the Mr. Sci-Fi question was, yeah. I mean, if it's a Star Trek episode that has some originality and some juice, I don't want it to be the half white and half black one, like on the original Star Trek. Host will let you in soon. Okay, you have to let us in to the meeting, otherwise we're screwed. So
Okay,
it's up to Dave. Oh, hi, Dave. You have to let us into the meeting. It says, okay. Let's see. Connecting. Open Zoom US. Okay, hold on. We're doing that. This is well beyond words.
We have a little circling thing saying
Connecting, and it's just circling the fence.
Circling.
I don't know why. Oh,
Mr.
no,
Sci-Fi
guys.
looks good. Okay.
No, guys.
Okay, so you were going to answer Mr. Sci-Fi while this circle.
Well, we just did that.
Okay,
that.
All right.
So, but now.
Huh.
Okay,
Okay,
there we
here we
go.
go.
Okay,
we're
good. And join with computer audio. Let's see, and then you're using computer audio. We want to have start video. There we go. Can you hear me, David? Can you? I can't hear you.
I was muted, yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Now we got it.
Got it.
Okay, good. So, Jennifer, do you want to take your turn, Jennifer?
Did you answer that question?
I did. And
Not on the table, we didn't hear it.
it was the Star Trek episodes have to have their own their own internal story logic. They can't just be hitting people over the head with the obvious metaphor. So when they did the Frank Gorshin episode with the half black, half white people, that was just too heavy-handed, and it was not a good episode. So again, you always have to say, okay, what makes for a good story and a dramatic story, rather than just let's do something about an issue. That's the whole point of it. So I think Far Beyond the Stars, the DS9 episode I came up with, is a perfect example of something that's about an issue, but also is a great story as well. So okie doke. So Jennifer, why don't you take your turn? Go for it.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. I just graduated from university. I was studying in the UK. And then my main focus is video editing. I've done some video editing for like short films and motion film videos and like social media.
Great. Now, also, your volume is very, very low. It's a little hard to hear you.
I'm not sure what's going on.
That's good. That's good. Good.
Okay.
We can hear you now. But great. So go ahead, please.
Yeah. So I got back to California where the just before the lockdown happened. So now I'm looking for some opportunity to get into the entertainment industry.
Great. So what kinds of opportunities would you like? What would you like to see happen?
I'm open to anything really. I kind of want to get into video editing or like film editing.
Great.
Or TV or
Mhm.
something like that. Yeah.
Well, I think David Bartlett might be able to point you in the right direction toward editing possibilities.
The table can warn you against that.
Dave is our editor on Space Command. So
Yes, we torture him on a regular basis.
Yes.
But if editing is at this point your passion, then you can stick to editing. We have a lot of editors on the table.
Mhm.
But what kind of things do you most like to edit?
Oh, here we go.
I really enjoy editing films
Uh-huh.
or
Narrative story. Yeah, no, well, there's a lot of opportunities on the table. I mean, that if you get on the table email, there's several thousand members. And so there's always people doing web series, doing short films, doing features, doing all sorts of stuff.
If you have samples, then it's very good to post your editing. If you don't have enough samples, because we have a large number of directors and actors at the table, if you just say, I would be happy to edit your short scenes just as a sample for like either free or for a low cost, then you can like start to really get your feet wet and put together samples and play with play with the medium until you can really get a sense of your own specific vocabulary, where people can say, "Oh, if I want that, I better get her." So there, because there's so much just being made, if you can put it out there, I think you could develop a reel quickly. And if it's something you're passionate about and do want to develop your own vocabulary based on your favorite editors, some of them are just amazing.
Yes.
But also it would be good to try and work with a very good DP or writer where you have the same voice, the same aesthetic, and where they'll bring you back over and over again.
Yes.
So you might watch out for people, especially, are you a member of Film Independent?
No, I'm not.
Well, that might be a good organization to join, because they're doing a lot around independent filmmaking, and they might be able to connect you up with people and so forth. So
they do the Spirit Awards.
Yes.
And is it $95 for basic membership and a little more for?
Yeah, it's like they have 2 tiers, 95 and 200 and something. But you can check it out online. Film Independent.
You can just go on down there and
well, no, not now, right?
Not
right now. No.
But yeah, you check it out, and the thing is, you start to get a sense of who in Film Independent would share your vision.
Yes.
Because like any independent group, they have the Spirit Awards. They have some really wonderful filmmakers, and some less than wonderful filmmakers.
Yes.
so you'd want to like kind of scope it out, especially during your festival, and see who seems to have your voice, your eye, your vision, both in terms of the cinematographer and the writers, and start to develop a list. One of the things that keeps us going is that we start to see that we don't scatter shoot. We get a really laser focused targets to people that we really want to work with, and then things move a lot more quickly, and you don't get as depressed.
Great. So any other questions? Anything else, Jennifer?
I think that's it. I think I'm gonna. Rhonda was talking about the email list.
Yes.
Yes.
That'll be great.
So,
Yeah, because that's really a very powerful tool, and she can sort of guide you in that. And I think David is David Bartlett.
You too, yeah.
Yeah,
David Bartlett is the conduit and signing people up for that right now. So great. Well, 3 cheers. Yay. And again, we're doing a simulcast with my Mr. Sci-Fi YouTube channel. So we're alternating between table members having their turns and Mr. Sci-Fi people asking questions of
Let me
me.
just ask you. I invited somebody to the table, and they said they clicked on the link and entered the password, and it got rejected. Anybody, David? Anybody know what's going on there?
Well,
No, there isn't really a password. If you have the link, it goes straight here.
Huh.
Right, that's what I thought.
yeah.
Try that.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll have them try again. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Cool. So is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question, David?
There is. Rose Kirby says,
Hi,
"Can you
Rose.
put any written stuff on the ebook when it's sent?"
Well, yeah. I mean, we should definitely have more ebooks available, and that is a very, very good idea. And so that's something we should definitely be looking into. Absolutely. You bet. You bet. You bet.
Rose is a big Kickstarter Space Command fan.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah, we know that. You bet. Absolutely. So let's see. Now, is anyone from like the East Coast? Well, I know, Irina, you are. So did you want to take your turn, Irina?
Rena, you're not there?
She may not be there.
Okay.
Okay.
So is anybody else on the East Coast where it's late for you now? Anybody who's currently on? No?
Ani,
Oh, yes?
Ani, yeah, go for it.
Go for it, yeah.
Everything's going pretty good. David Ines actually still never got back to me. I sent her a follow-up and she hasn't.
Wow.
So if she's been like super busy or whatever.
Ines?
But
Yeah.
yeah, and Ness, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's right. Send me an email about that, and I'll get back to you tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've just been doing the same as Jennifer, just kind of looking for opportunities. I
Mhm.
signed up for a spec script class at the New York Film Academy that starts in like 2 weeks.
Cool.
That should be fun.
Mhm.
Yes, and I've
What-
just been.
Are you writing a spec TV script or a spec feature?
I think it's for TV. Yeah, for TV scripts.
Do you have a sense of what show? What are you going to write, a pilot or a spec episodic?
It's supposed to help you be able to adapt to like different series.
Uh-huh.
So like we're going to be looking at different series and making scripts for them, so that in the writer's field we'll be able to be more flexible and be able
Yes.
to write for different series and
Just-
be able to help capture the tone and characters better.
Great. The one thing I'll say is never write a spec episodic sample for a show you don't like. Okay.
Oh no,
So-
I don't think I could do that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like my distaste would just bleed through.
Right. And also another thing, because it used to be easier to write spec episodic when episodes were freestanding. Now, of course, most shows have arcs and so forth. And the way to get around that is that you can simply say on the opening page, this is set at this point in the show. So, for instance, I won a Writers Guild Award for a spec Mad Men script I wrote a few years ago, and I just said this takes place at this point in the show, and that was fine. That was fine because you can't know where the show is headed. Obviously, if it has an arc, and you just want to find a place to put yourself. Now, so that's some of it. There's a whole bunch of things. Do you have any questions about that stuff?
I mean, I guess I'm not entirely sure because I just signed up, so
Mhm.
I guess I haven't even thought of the proper questions. So
Yeah.
I'll be sure to ask when I can. But mostly, I just hope as someone as someone who's been in the industry as long as you have.
Mhm.
I'm just assuming you already know all about writing for different series.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I've written for a ton of different shows, and what you really have to be very good at is getting the character voice. I'm once I can hear the character in my head, I can write the character, whether it's Spock or whomever. All the many the Papa Smurf, whatever. It's like, but
There are a lot of interesting ways of finding your way into a show.
yes.
When he was part of a show, the whole thing was he was like the character guy fix. And so what you do is you see when is the actors who are on the show, what kind of material are they at their strongest?
Yes.
Because sometimes you'll see that the writers aren't paying attention and they're kind of forcing them into things that they don't do well.
Yes.
And whereas there are things that they can do really well. And so if you sort of watch the actors for that and say, what kind of emotions, what kind of, like we've seen people like, where they tried to force someone to be kind of wry and witty, when what they were really good at was being sincere.
But also the other mistake that a lot of people make in writing spec scripts is they create new characters, and it's that person's story rather than the established characters of the show. It's a very big error in judgment to do that.
But what does help is if whatever story you pick is that it's personally important to you.
Yes.
So that the passion with which you work with the characters, as long as you stay true to the characters, really shows. When people take things from either their background, their personal background, or something that they read about that just got them spitting mad, or something like that. When I've seen them put that into that material, weave it in, it worked much, much better. The fact that it was real and came from real life, either from the news or from their life, it brought it up, because then you're not just trying to do an imitation. So you might, when you look for the shows where the voice not only suits, but the basic messaging behind the show is something that you can really get on board with.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and again, just you'll find what resonates for you. It's very fun writing for different shows, and it gives you a lot of variety of experiences. So it's a fun thing to do, and really good TV writers are able not just to write other people's characters, but they're also able to create very vivid characters on pilots of their own. And often, or almost exclusively now, I'll write for specific actors who are very distinct in my head, and because we're creating an ensemble of actors, just in the shows we're creating. And so, for instance, on the show I'm creating with Rockne O'Bannon, we have Mike Harney and Barbara Bain and Gates McFadden and so forth, and Nana Visitor and George Takei. And so these are people who are very, very, very clear in my head. And so it makes writing them extremely easy, in terms of melding the character with what the actor can do, and what the actor will be excited to do. So there's that as well.
If you find a scene that's a little bit limp, then make sure that each character, every character in your scene, just be clear on what they want. Because if they don't want something in that scene, there's no energy.
Right.
If they want something in that scene, even if it's to impress or to keep somebody from getting angry at them, you've got energy in the scene. If there's nothing that they want and they're just serving the plot, then your plot's being served, but there's no energy.
Right.
So it's just an easy trick, but it helps the actors, but more importantly, it electrifies the scene.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that one can talk about, but any other questions, Ani, for now?
Not for now. It's
okay.
Just not much has changed since last time. Just doing that thing. But thank you so much. And I hope you guys both had a great birthday.
Yeah, we did. It was very fun.
It
was very, very fun. Thank you for mentioning that. So 3 cheers. Yay! So David Bartlett, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
There is. Rose Kirby asks, when is Space Command episode 2 due out?
Soon. Very, very soon. We hope to have it completed by Christmas. And so we're moving along on it. We're getting more and more VFX artists aboard and all that stuff. Yeah, it's going great. So Dave just sent me a new version of the second hour, which I'm about to look at, and can't wait.
And we are open to skilled artists.
Yes, and I just found out that Tony Shand is teaching himself visual effects. So that's very interesting. So lots to talk about in that regard. So he's the one building the Space Command car, the futuristic car. So pretty fun. And so let's see. Now on my screen, the next person is John Watson. Do you want to take your turn, John? Go for it. And right now you're silhouetted.
Yes.
The man of mystery. So yeah.
Hey, John. Are you?
Yeah, he's
there you go. Right?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes, go for it.
Okay. Anyway, I was invited again, by Samuel Whitehill.
Oh, good.
Okay, great.
Right, and I've been working on a script that he's kind of like is like backing me or something like that.
Great.
You know, like and so he suggested that I come on here to look for people who filmmakers, like directors, producers, who can help me get it out, help me get it made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, now is the script finished yet, or is it just being written?
Well, it's kind of finished. The first draft.
Right. Great.
Couple of drafts.
Well, the real thing is, once you think it's ready, then you can actually put out the word on the table email and see if there are people who want to read it or want to, potentially attach to it. I mean, what you want to make sure is that if a director wants to attach to it or a producer wants to attach to it, that they have credits and that they're legitimate.
But if you're new to the field,
mm-hmm.
Or even if you're not, one of the really neat services of the table, because we have so many good actors, is a table read,
mm-hmm.
which you can do on Zoom. Just like, you can you can't get them in the room right now, but you can do on Zoom.
Yes.
And it's really helpful, even if you've been around the block a lot of times, to have a table read with good actors,
mm-hmm.
because when you actually have it up on its feet and people are reading the roles, at least I, as a writer, I get all of these surprises. There are scenes that I think are very clear and people are going, what are they trying to get out of that moment? And there are some things where I'm thinking, this isn't going to work so well. And people are like, really queuing into it.
Mm.
So, and then people ask questions of things that aren't quite clear enough or love certain things or don't like certain things. But when you get it on and a lot of, certain things you're going to just say, nah, I don't buy that note. But that doesn't matter. If you get like 10% of really good notes, that can be the life or death of your script. So once you feel it's as good as you can get it, it is very helpful to, once you get on the table email, to say, here's some roles. I would love to do a Zoom table read. And you can, get a lot of actors and they can give opinions and you can take it up to that next level.
Uh-huh. And I got an email today from a guy named Bob McCullough. And he's a Writers Guild member, and he just wrote a book called Stop Screwing Around and Write a Screenplay That Sells.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if the book's any good or not, but this guy's got a lot of produced credits apparently, so that might be worth checking out. But I mean,
flip through it before you buy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Flip through these damn books before you buy, because there's so many that are just like, what?
That are just crap.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, the thing is that I want to also get involved, at least in the beginning stages.
Mm-hmm.
Like say if I made a POD, proof of concept, POC,
mm-hmm.
and like directed the actors in it. I want to be a part of it at some level.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
sure.
So have you ever worked with actors before?
Yeah. In fact, I'm doing it right now, off and on. There's been a lot of setbacks because of what we're going through.
Yes.
And,
yes.
So I'm doing it right now.
Oh, good.
Well, that's great.
Cool.
So you wanted to be able to do proof of concept of your script?
Mm-hmm.
Of the film, yeah.
Of the film,
We're filming one. It's like a trailer, of course.
Well, cool. That's great.
That's great. I mean, again, I see all of this stuff as something that's endlessly improvable. So it's not about, is it good enough right off the bat? It's always like, okay, start something, make something, look at it, see if it works, refine it, change it. I mean, it's always about make it better. It's like once you're in motion, there's something you can work on. A lot of people just kind of stay stuck and are so afraid to fail that they don't take that initial first step. But once you start moving forward, you can make things better and better and better. And that's really a helpful part of the process.
When he was creating Space Command, and was trying to create material for the Kickstarter campaign, that thing we polished and repolished and repolished.
Yeah.
And in fact, delayed the start to get it to be really
the Kickstarter video.
The Kickstarter video as a proof of concept of the show,
and that raised $200,000, $221,000.
But that was worked on over and over and over, and shown over and over. And so, I mean, take it. I think it's very good that you're working on that, and you take it very, very seriously. It's amazing where you can end up from where you start.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
A lot can happen.
Well, I'm working with a producer.
Mm-hmm.
And once it's finished, to the way we want it or the way he wants it, he's gonna take it to, somewhere to he knows film executive.
Mm-hmm.
He worked with TriStar or something like that.
Great.
And,
okay, that's good. If he's going to pitch it though,
Right.
Do have talk to them about you being in the room.
Oh, okay.
It's very, very helpful to have the writer in the room, because if they say, I really like this, but does it have to be in Chicago? Can it be in Arizona? Then you as the writer can think about it and say, well, it's a hunting mystery. Yeah, it could be in Arizona. Or you could say, this is a city show. If you shoot it in Arizona, here's why there'll be problems,
Yes.
But
Okay.
as the writer, also you want to start being identified as part of the project.
Okay.
You want to be visible. Visibility is like really good,
Yes.
but especially as the writer, because you can be flexible and say what must be, and also be flexible in saying, actually, that would be an easy fix. That's no problem. Or you can say, that's interesting. Let's say it's not interesting, but you're thrown. But you can say, that's interesting. Let me give it some thought. And then you can see if there's a way to finesse it, or if it's just, you can't, or if there's a great way to do it. But you can do it, and he can't do that. But firstly, for your own career, and secondly, for the sake of the material, and your ability to adapt as a writer, it's critical. It's actually critical.
Okay. Anything else,
So
John?
this is what's the inside, though. It's not like an outside setting or anything like that. It's inside. It's domestic.
Oh, okay.
That's fine.
Fine.
That's fine.
So, any other questions? Anything else you need?
No, that's it.
Yay, John, well done.
Yeah.
So, and then also with the Mr. Sci-Fi question, I saw one asking about the Rhamphorhynchus that's on our wall above the spacesuit. And good call on recognizing a Rhamphorhynchus. It's a it's one of the Pteranodon family, which people often think are dinosaurs, and they weren't actually. They were flying reptiles. There was years ago we came across a sculptor who made these really cool sculptures of dinosaurs in metal, and so we bought the Rhamphorhynchus, and it's been on our wall for many years.
Well, actually, we went to a museum shop, and we saw it, and we fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And it was in a case, sales case, in another room. We had to go inside to ask for it.
Yes.
Which had many glass items in front of it.
Yes.
And so we were standing there, and we said, we want to buy that thing.
Yeah.
And so the sales girl went out to remove it from the case, where it was behind these many beautiful glass items.
Yeah.
And we heard
crash. Yeah. And she had
and we
knocked
were afraid,
over glass things.
We were afraid to go out.
But fortunately, it wasn't us doing it.
No,
so,
it wasn't us, but we felt bad.
You break it, you buy it.
Yeah, we felt bad.
But we bought the Rhamphorhynchus,
Yes,
which is
did.
not made of glass,
Yes.
thank God. So it's made of metal. It's solid metal. So it's really cool.
Really cool.
Yeah, really, really cool. So great. So, okay. So Carol Field, I guess you're next on our screen. Go for it.
Hi there.
Hi.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Rhonda, I met you years ago with Bob Stiefel.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
I knew the name.
Right? So nice to see you.
So great to see
And
you.
thank you. I love the table put it.
Yes.
I'll talk to you more later, okay? I really like that. Thank you for what you said, Mark and Elaine, about pitching in the room.
Yes.
Because I've had other people pitch my stuff, and I just always felt awful not being there.
Yes.
Oh, that's really a no-no.
Just
Take
make
power.
that drives me nuts. This is a couple things. David Bartlett wanted to know what I played at Godspell.
Mhm.
So there's an old picture. If you can see it,
Ah. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Fun. That's great.
nice shoes.
Wow.
So there it is.
Life is good.
What is it, Chris?
That's awesome. Thank you.
That's funny. So funny. I wrote this on Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
and I read it to a friend, and she said, "Can I put that on my blog?" And I went, "Really?" She said, "Yeah, Carol, a lot of actors your age would like to hear that." Yes. Would you mind if I read it? It's
No,
short.
not at all. Go ahead, please.
It's one page. Okay, sit
Sure.
back and relax. I am never really vexed by the randomness of thoughts. I'm aware our synapses are not linear. Ultimately, we just make them work. But this particular glaring non sequitur was so unhinged, I had to go home and scribble it on paper. So there I sat in the parking lot of Food for Less on Van Owen Boulevard. Not the most religious of experiences. And I watched the masked and gloved, largely Mexican families cajoling and joyously poking each other towards our essential pilgrimage. And so what else would I do in the grocery store parking lot on a scorching Sunday morning during a pandemic? None other than Think about this. How much I miss the smell of stage makeup. Naturally, yes, the smell. Not the pretty colors or what it did to these deep set eyes, but the smell. The first blast when you unscrewed the lid and it hit you without permission. How do you do, sugar? We're in this together, it would say. I would light up like a twin finding his counterpart or even a virgin birth. The makeup from Macy's or Bloomie's or the cheap drugstore on West 53rd never had that certain smell, nor the voice, avuncularly calling me sugar. That darling little man at East 41st Street who never looked up from reading backstage or show business, but could accurately advise you from some third eye. What you up to, he would ask. Yay, I'm going out with Nono Nanette next week, I would respectfully reply. Mazel tov, he would say. Get the Max Factor number 5. Your part light olive, part pink. Anything else will drown you out. We got new lip brushes from Berlin. They're on sale. And I'd leave there smiling with my new stash, still never seeing the color of his eyes. And in the subway, I'd steal a bench, peruse the area to begin my new relationship with no interruption, and uncap one of my new potions. And there it would be again, the waft, the greeting, the historical ambrosia left by every actress before me, and every actress henceforth hoofing in No Nanette. And it would say, "Hi, sugar, we're in this together." Whether it was the Belasco, or some black box on Melrose, or Temple Israel's backstage in Detroit, the smell of stage makeup had the same voice. I pulled myself inside the grocery store. No doubt everyone in there was thinking the same as me. Understandably, I hobbled over to the lonely makeup stand. There, far from commanding, smiled the Revlon and the Maybelline. They were trying. And I pretended, for just 1 second, that I was surrounded by the smell of Max Factor and Ben Nye and that the word pandemic was only something cobbled together on a Scrabble board. Then the lights were as radiant as ever on the Great White Way, and the only masks anyone was wearing were for effect, for something theatrical, under the silly magician's cheesy sleight of hand. Undoubtedly. Sugar, said the voice from Max Factor number 5. You got it going on. This pandemic thing is temporary. They all are. Go with your inner resources. Go for the love, Carol. Because whether you're basking in the smell of odorous legendary rouge or of the inhibitions produced by your masks, it's all about the love. Did you ever believe it was about anything else? He laughed. I cautiously moved away from the makeup stand and filled my basket with food. I now had to look at food for less with different eyes. Yow. Who knew that roast chicken and mascara had so much in common? And what was it that I said about random thoughts?
How fun.
Nice. Yes.
I just wanted to read it because I was clapping. I have one audience member. Because, I mean, it's a hard time.
No,
It's a hard
yeah.
time. And we will rise again.
Yes. Well, that's great.
I have nothing else to report, but I needed an audience tonight, so thank you for letting me.
Great.
No, it's lovely.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. Well,
I think it was beautiful.
that's great. And cool. Congrats. Anything else you need, Carol?
I don't want to take up your time. We could talk for a half hour, so no, just go in health and I'll bring it up next time.
Okay, cool. Yay. 3 cheers. So, David, another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes, we have a comment and a question.
Okay.
Is the spacesuit just moved on its own?
Okay. Well, that's
I wanna keep an eye on that.
good. Okay.
Mark, any opinions on Richard Brodigan?
I haven't read much of him. He's one of those writers I haven't gotten around to really. I think I read one of his books back in college. So no, I don't really have. I try not to have opinions based on lack of knowledge, as opposed to most people who will cobble together an opinion without knowledge. So, but one thing I was going to mention was during our trip to Morro Bay, we went to a number of antique stores and thrift stores and so forth. And one of the things I found for $5 was this photo of an actor named Kenneth Tobey, and you really can't see here, but it's signed. It's actually signed, a real signature. And he starred in the movie The Thing in the 1950s, the one that was produced by Howard Hawks. So I'm going to put that up on the wall with a lobby card from that movie. He's really wonderful in that film. And you can't tell from this photo, but he had bright red hair. He was a redhead. And he's quite a wonderful actor. So if you've never seen that version of The Thing, it's a great film. And also John Carpenter's later version of The Thing is also quite wonderful.
But one of the best things about The Thing, if you haven't seen
the first one,
is the first scene where there's a flirtation scene And,
between the hero and the girl.
and
Yeah.
it has that naturalistic overlap that that Orson Welles used to like, that made things feel so.
And Hawks liked
Hawks,
overlapping dialogue.
Yes, and Hawks really liked it. Hard for editors. Sorry, Mr. Editor.
Yes.
But it felt very natural, and it was
really fun.
Exceptionally fine naturalistic acting in the middle of this
movie.
horror flip.
Yeah, fun.
Flick.
So great, so cool. So I guess it's Dave Edison's turn now.
Hey, Dave.
So go for it, Dave. Oh, are you there, Dave? Your image is frozen. Uh-oh.
Dave?
No, we can't hear you yet.
You haven't done
Hang on.
muted.
He's saying, hold on a second.
Hold on. Okay.
Is it not working? He's waiting for it to unmute. There it goes.
Yeah.
Oh, there it goes.
Okay.
Talk. Up.
Nope.
Nope.
You muted again.
There you go. Okay. Go for it. Up.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, there you are.
We heard that. Yes.
Hi.
Good.
Hi, everyone. Hope everybody's well.
Yes.
Dave Edison, editor
Yay.
of Space Command and other things.
Great.
And by the way, it's good that Tony is learning VFX.
Yes. Very good.
So in about, if he works really hard, in about maybe 3 to 5 years, he'll be able to do a shot for us.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Yes. Or much less. So.
Or hopefully less. But
yes.
the one.
Oh, you hopeful man.
Yes.
Well, the one thing,
he told me several things that were germane. His day job until recently was he worked in aerospace, and also his mother designed video games. She was a computer programmer. Wow. So those are, okay. Yeah. So computers.
He's not starting from ground zero.
Not at all. Not at all.
Good.
So yeah.
And he's got that. He's got that one.
Yes, very good.
He's got that one thing that I find extremely attractive in men I like to hire, which is a lunatic work ethic.
Yeah, works cheap.
Works cheap and hard. Yes.
Yes, yes. And so go ahead, Dave. Hit us to what's going on with you.
All right. So we've been working on Space Command while you were unwinding and decompressing.
Yes.
Going back and forth with David Bartlett on some shots. Before you left, as you probably recall, we had a couple of days worth of meetings to discuss the VFX shots that were pending on episode 2. And so I made a list of things that I could possibly address. So I've checked most of those off the list by now. There are a few that are probably beyond my skill level, but getting there. And
great.
Oh, like you said, at the rate we're going, we're looking at having the second episode by Christmas.
That's great. Yes.
I'm not promising Christmas of this year, but by Christmas nonetheless.
Yes, the charming.
Other than that, late nights and on weekends, I've been helping my friend Shy, who's sometimes here on these nights, but not tonight, on her second season of webisodes of her series South of Sanity, which is a dramedy. And cool. If you go to YouTube, southofsanityshow.com, you can see the two episodes, the 2 short webisodes that are up now. And there's a link to the pilot from last year. And she's working hard. She's got some personal challenges lately. I'm not revealing anything. She's mentioned it while she's here. So, the fact that she's incorporated the fact that she's a cancer survivor, recent cancer survivor, into the series.
Yes.
Is brave and interesting.
Yes.
Nicely done.
That's great.
Anyway, there's that. If anybody wants to take a look, my picture book is online.
Yay.
You can see the animated version of The Man with the List. If you happen to be a grown-up skeptic, freethinker, realist, doubter, questioner, agnostic, atheist, or anyone who can't believe in the unbelievable, this might be the book for you.
Great.
And other than that, I guess it's just trying to stay sane. And, it's nice to see a bunch of people for once this week to watch something other than a bunch of lunatics lying with every sentence. So thank you for centering us here.
Yeah,
yes, thank you.
Great.
Stay well. Mark will we'll discuss shots coming up, and we'll we'll move forward.
Yeah, things are exciting. Thank you, Dave.
Yay.
And
Stay well.
and also, as I mentioned, we were looking at the thrift stores and the antique shops, and I found a place that was selling paperbacks from the 50s for like $1, $2, which is amazing. You never find them anymore. So this is the paperback from the 1950s of The Big Sleep by Raymond Chandler. I love this cover artwork, and it says on the back, it says, "I slapped her hard." So this is not something you would get nowadays, and it's not really accurate of The Big Sleep, which is a wonderful detective novel by Raymond Chandler, one of the great writers of mystery fiction of all time. So, and it was made into a great Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall movie, which I highly recommend. So, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, David?
Indeed. We have a little comment and a question. Scott Gamble says, what a great photo find of Kenneth Tobey.
Yes.
And Armando asked a question for Elaine. You
Yes.
talked about how you were raised by communist parents and are writing about them.
Mhm.
How do you think your background has affected your approach to storytelling?
Well, it's affected it quite a bit in that my perspective is from the average Joe kind of perspective, because I was brought up with people who worked in, my dad worked in factories, and it was sort of so there aren't a lot of people who came up from labor and from a sense of America as being heroic from the ground up. And all across the country, where flyover country for me is the most interesting people, and are the bedrock of what this country is supposed to stand for. And so it's having communist parents. I wasn't a communist myself, but certainly valuing the individual, and so many people that I met, what did they want? They didn't want more. They didn't have to stand on top of anyone else. They just wanted a good life, a productive life for themselves and for their family. And this is like worldwide. I've had a chance to travel quite a bit. Just wanting to lead a life where you could be kind and experience kindness. So I think that has really affected my view and the way in which I write, where I address those kind of issues.
Yay. Good answer.
That's great. So there are several people that love The Big Sleep and
Yes.
hardboiled stuff, and they're asking if Mark can hold up the book a little longer. They
Sure.
didn't get a very good look at it.
You bet. Here's let's see, I'll get it so we don't have as much reflection on it. So it's really a cool cover, and I'll
That's
look at
Mr.
that.
Sci-Fi, and
Yeah.
that's the tape.
Yeah, it's really great. So, yep. So great. So next is Kaushik. Go for it.
Hi everyone, my name is Kaushik, and I'm a comedy writer
Yes.
and actor,
Cool.
and learning direction now. Past 2 months, I was in a summer intensive at Los Angeles City College, doing a class on history of motion pictures.
Ah,
So it was like extremely interesting. We read and watched movies. The very first motion picture that was ever captured in 1888.
Wow. Wow.
ah,
And all the way through up to like last year, 2019, was one of the films that we watched.
Wow.
And like every decade we had analysis to read what happened during that decade, and then how things moved forward and all that stuff.
and so what did you learn from this, Dorothy?
What is that?
Elaine was saying, "What did you learn from this, Dorothy?" It's a quote from Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yes.
So what did you
What did you learn?
What did you learn? How were you able to incorporate this into your own art?
I mean, the big difference when the movies moved from silent to talkies, I would say, that was a big change. And then from black and white to color, because generally the Hollywood studio system was very resistant to get into a very new system that they were not familiar with. So and then there was the French New Movement, which coming to America, it became the New American Movement. And the movie I watched was Bonnie and Clyde. And yeah, it was like very striking to see that like a lot of the things that we are very used to seeing now. So maybe Bonnie and Clyde does not have that same impact on us right now than it had at that time. People are not used to seeing stuff like that.
Yes.
And also watching Citizen Kane and reading a lot about it.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's generally regarded the best movie ever made.
Yes.
All over the world. And I don't know, I was a bit surprised to see that Citizen Kane is given the best movie ever made. I don't know exactly why, although I have read a lot of stuff and I know what the critics and everybody say. Maybe one of the reasons I feel was because that was the very first movie where, like, a lot of the different things that people were trying in different films were put together in one film.
Yes.
And after that, all those things became like norm for the industry to follow. So that might be one of the reasons. The story was very fascinating, although I didn't like it too much, I would say, but surprisingly, that was the only Oscar the movie got, original screenplay.
Yes.
It was nominated in a few other categories, but that was the only Oscar it did.
Yes. Yeah. It's a fascinating film. It's a fascinating film, and the one thing that's very interesting about it is that most American films of that period are primarily about love, and that film is about power and the corruption of power. And so Wells was choosing an extremely unusual theme for an American film of that era. Plus, he was putting himself in the crosshairs of one of the most powerful men in America, because that's a fictionalized version of the life of William Randolph Hearst, who was a newspaper. He owned a number of newspapers. He was very, very powerful, and he made a permanent enemy of that guy. And so his career was very rocky after that, even though people were amazed by the brilliance of that film. And
that's what I was like. I was wondering that it's such a like highly acclaimed movie. If only he would have chosen another topic.
Yes.
To write about.
Yes.
Well, because the Hearst going completely against the film.
Yes.
Was one of the huge reasons that the movie didn't do too well.
Right.
And after that, Orson, like, he never ever recovered from
No.
it.
And though it's interesting because immediately before Citizen Kane, he was actually working on a film version of Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, which was later made, of course, into Apocalypse Now by Francis Ford Coppola. And that film didn't come to fruition, but it's interesting to speculate on what would have happened if he'd made that film instead of Citizen Kane. We will never know, of course. And but yeah, Wells is really.
There's a great line of Orson Welles. He said he started at the top and worked his way down.
Yes, yes. But it's funny because years and years ago, I was at a cocktail party for Academy members, and I met a guy, an older guy, and he was the inventor of the optical printer. And he said, "Yeah, we made that for King Kong. We needed it." And he said, then we used it on Citizen Kane. So this was a guy who had worked on both of those films, and that was pretty amazing. The optical printer allows you to take multiple images and utilize them in visual effects. Because prior to the optical printer, every visual effect had to be done in camera, which meant you would back up the film for multiple exposures and so forth. It was murder. And it was a huge advance in the history of visual effects and used a lot in Citizen Kane.
But in terms of him making a very powerful enemy, sometimes I think people forget how young he was.
He was 27 when he made Citizen Kane.
And I don't think he understood he was a powerful guy, and I don't think he understood the kind of consequences,
I think he did not understand what the type of consequences, right?
Yeah. No. Well, go figure. So, but if you've never listened to Mercury Theater on the Air, the radio work he did in the 30s, it's amazing. And so you can find it online on YouTube. Amazing stuff. Mercury Theater on the Air. Some of the.
When I read about him, I kind of felt he was a prodigy.
He was. He was. Definitely he was. As a child, he was viewed as a genius. And so reading biographies of Orson Welles, it's very, very interesting stuff. And
But how terrible that such a prodigy who was like definitely born genius, and the only thing he made is the greatest film ever, Citizen Kane. and the rest of his films almost nobody knows about.
Well, a number of his other films actually have a lot to recommend them. There's a movie he did called Chimes at Midnight that's about Falstaff. It's basically works several of Shakespeare's plays about that character together, and he plays Falstaff. He's he's good. It's a very interesting film, and there's a lot of stuff from his career that's of interest, and so yeah, there's joys to be had in a number of his films, and he's also, of course, as an actor, he was amazingly talented. Like there's a film of Jane Eyre with Joan Fontaine as Jane Eyre and Orson Welles playing Rochester, and that's again a very, very memorable film. There's a lot of stuff, but we can get into all that. So is there anything else? Yeah, is there anything else you need, Kaushik?
So I'm starting a direction class now next week.
Cool.
LSCC.
Great.
It's the same class that I was doing during the spring, and then I dropped off due to the pandemic because I wasn't able to make any films. And the situation has gotten a little better now in the sense that I could probably get my friends to act for my films because people have gotten a little more used to it. But the class is still online, so I still don't have any access to the school equipments or building or anything.
Well, that sucks.
Only thing is, it's a little maybe slightly better situation now. People are going out and stuff. I won't be arrested trying to shoot something. So, but it's gonna be very challenging. I mean, but I thought, instead of sitting on it and we don't know when anything will be things will be completely normal.
Yeah.
I would just go ahead, push myself.
Kaushik, I just wanted to mention something that a few years ago, I did some PR for a woman, an author, that was Orson Welles' personal assistant. And one of our table members, and she worked with him on several movies, and one of our table members brought me to this client, and that table member is still in touch with her. So if you would like to find out more about that, let me know.
Yeah, it will be very interesting, sure. And I had a question for you, Rhonda. Do you work with actors and for publicity on the publicity side?
I work with everybody.
Oh, cool.
Actors, manufacturers, entertainment people, lawyers, everything. I've been doing it almost 40 years now, so I've seen it all.
I'll probably reach out to you, and then we will see if what are the stuffs we can do together.
Sure, but if you want me to hook you up with that assistant to him.
Wow.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm gonna get your email address, and then I'll be in touch with you.
Sure.
Great.
Thank you.
That's great. Cheers.
I had a question for Mark and probably for anybody who can check it. So I watched a film called Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm sure you guys have watched it. It's an amazingly good film. It's the first film in Hollywood that had green screen, entire movie.
Yes.
Green screen and CGI.
Yes.
In one movie.
Yes.
I'm trying to get hold of a movie called Abel Edwards. I don't know if you guys know about it.
No.
That's the very first movie. It was released in 2004. That was entirely green screen. Only green screen, no CGI. The Sky Captain movie is green screen and CGI.
Yes.
Abel Edwards is only green screen.
Wow.
And it was $30,000. Their budget was.
Wow.
I cannot find it anywhere, but I'll see if I can.
Have you tried Eddie Brandt? Eddie Brandt's Saturday Matinee. That's a video place that has a lot of stuff that no one else can get.
It's on Vine.
It's closed. It's closed right now.
It's
because it's walking distance from me. I go there. I used to go there all the time. It's closed, and they've got unfortunately, they got all their media in a warehouse somewhere, and they're looking for a place that they can open. So
wow.
It would be very tough to do. Although you might be able to reach out to them by email and maybe they can help you.
Also,
they're on a DVD shop or something, or
yes.
There's a bunch of copies on eBay.
Oh wow, cool.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Well, that's great.
So my question was, if I'm trying to make a film,
yes.
green screen.
Yes.
Very important that there should be green screen 360 degrees.
Okay.
If I'm trying to shoot well, or no. if only one side is like nicely covered with a green screen, I can still make something good. What do you think?
Oh, I think you have to work with somebody who really knows how
what
to
they're doing.
light and
Yeah.
shoot green screen. There's
Yeah.
so many ways.
David will know how a
Yeah.
lot about that.
I mean-
I've got a little experience with that at this point.
yeah, Jesus.
Yeah.
You do not have to have a 360 room. Even you can have a flat wall and block quite a bit.
But,
Yeah.
but you
You just need head to toe. You have to have a cove and have the floor green. But there's a very common down these rooms. You can find them.
Yes.
But work with a DP. I mean, before you shoot green screen, talk to people who have shot with
your
green
team
screen.
has to know visual effects.
What they're doing, because it has to be lit in a certain way, laid out very flat in a certain way, and there's stuff you can't do, and colors you can't do, and lighting you can't do. So just be sure it's not like it's terrible. Just be careful and work with somebody who's done it before.
Yeah, but
definitely need to work with like DP who is like experienced in green screen.
Yes, that would be
sure.
extremely helpful.
Yeah. Okay, great. Anything else?
There's a movie called Abel Edwards on Amazon. There's a whole bunch of used copies. I don't know if it's the right one or not.
Sure.
But I'm looking at Amazon right now.
Great.
Yeah.
Like for buying, renting, or like what?
For buying, they're all used, but if you're looking for it, there's a ton of them. Like $3 on.
And also,
nice. Okay,
and also the place that I always check first is YouTube, because you'd be amazed at what's on YouTube for free. It's really phenomenal. And so just to mention that. So great. So 3 cheers. Yay. Great. So David, do we have another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yeah, there's a couple little things we could add in here. There's a great book on William Randolph Hearst called Citizen Hearst.
Yes.
Pretty amazing. There's a very common rumor running around that he actually owned a copy of Citizen Kane and played it for his friends in his screening room in his mansion.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of lore around that.
Yes.
I won't share with the table, but there's a reason Rosebud has its name and whatnot.
Yeah.
They're all lots of funny stories.
And the one regret that Orson Welles had around Citizen Kane was the Kane's mistress, this aspiring opera singer, has no talent in the movie, but Marion Davies, who was the longtime mistress of William Randolph Hearst, was a very talented actress, particularly in comedy. And so he actually said afterwards publicly that he felt very bad about kind of slamming Marion Davies inadvertently, because he really liked her and thought she was very talented. So there you go. Okay.
So we have the supporting actor in The Thing, William Self, later became a major producer of Rod Serling's pilot for The Twilight Zone.
Yes. William Self, I interviewed him when I wrote The Twilight Zone Companion. At the time, he was an executive for CBS. And he told me something interesting, because we talked about him being an actor and then segueing to being a producer and a network executive. And he said, because he was in movies like Red River also, and he said he was friends with and Air at the Wind, who's the actor, Spencer Tracy. And Spencer Tracy said to him, if you're not going to be a star, yes, then Dave's holding up Who Goes There, which was made into The Thing.
Yeah. Thank you.
But Spencer Tracy said to him, if you're not going to be a star, you might as well not be an actor. And William Self took that to heart, and he gave up acting, and he did very well as an executive. And so, yep, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, that's Spencer Tracy. Yep. So there you go.
1941 edition of this to tie in with the movie is 1954, Who Goes There, and Other Stories, with an introduction by Theodore Sturgeon.
Wow, really? That's cool.
And just because you had what was it, The Big Sleep?
Yes.
Charlie Chan mystery.
Well, there you go.
1944.
Yeah, well, there you go.
But just a word to the wise.
Some amazing films, but just totally inappropriate.
Well, this is the Maltese Falcon in the first printing. So that's pretty fun with Dashiell Hammett on the back. That's a pretty neat book, to say the least.
Just a word to the wise: if you want to see an old film of Jekyll and Hyde, not see the Spencer Tracy version.
Frederick March.
Frederick March's version was just
1933. He won an Oscar for it. It's brilliant. Yeah, the 1933 one was directed by Ruben Mamoulian. It's a spectacular film, and Frederick March is brilliant in it, so I highly recommend it. So, okay, great. So did we do?
There's an actual question.
Good. What's the question?
And this is I'm not sure quite what the meaning of this word was, but Rose Kirby asked, what incarceration of the World of Worlds do you like? And have you seen Jeff Wayne's World of Worlds stage musical show?
I think she meant incarnation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this question came up last week. I've listened. I haven't seen it on stage, his version. I've heard the recordings of it. I'm not a huge fan of it, and that's just, I don't know why. My favorite version of War of the Worlds is, well, I love the novel, of course. I've got a first edition of it, but also the Gene Barry George Pal one is a great film with a great Martian in it. There are bits and pieces of the Tom Cruise one, the Steven Spielberg one, that I like, but overall I think it's a failure as a movie. But the opening of that movie is terrific when the Martian machine comes up out of the ground. That's a terrific sequence. And of course the Orson Welles radio version is unforgettable. And so it's an amazingly durable piece of work. The original War of the Worlds, really a phenomenal book and really brilliant. So okay, so let's see who's next. So yes, Heidi, go for it. It's your turn, Heidi.
Hey, I'm Heidi Guerrero. I am a production assistant /
Cool.
transcriber logger at my current job.
Great.
So my question is still the same question from last week. It's an IMDb credited me with the wrong pronoun. So my question is, do I need to start an account in order to change the pronoun from his to her?
David Bartlett, do you have an opinion on that?
IMDb is challenging. Let's just say some things are simple, some things will be changed and take forever. Sometimes they just won't change them. I mean, we can talk about that privately if you want. I can give you some pointers, but
yeah,
you kind of just have to hound them. I mean, if you hit them enough times for the same thing, they'll probably change it just to shut you up.
Yeah,
but it's very challenging.
And Kaushik, do you have something to say?
You might not need to change your entire thing just to get it. Besides, they might mess it up a second time as well.
Okay. And Kaushik, you had something to say?
From my experience, the only way you can do any changes if you have IMDb Pro. You have to pay for it. I think it's about $100 a year, and it allows you to do good amount of changing. There are certain things you still cannot touch, and those things you can write to them and they can help you. But they generally tend to only help people a little better who have the IMDb Pro accounts. I have done a good number of changings on IMDb Pro.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You can make many changes without IMDb Pro.
Yeah.
There may be truth to that, and they might like if you're paying for a higher service, but
right.
You can still approach quite a bit of it without being IMDb Pro.
Yeah, and you can also pay for IMDb Pro on a monthly basis, and then it's something like $15 a month or something. So that's less of a bite. So anything else, Heidi?
Oh, that is it.
Yay! Cheers. So another question, David?
Yes, this one is: how do you handle it when you get notes on your scripts that you did not agree with from your seniors?
Yes. Well, when Elaine and I wrote scripts and got notes and so forth, our goal, our rule for ourselves was that no matter what the notes were, each draft would be better than the previous one. So that takes a lot of work often, because you mustn't. The trick Doug Hayes taught me: listen to the concern under the note. So in other words, their solution may not be correct, it may not work, but there's something that's not working for them. And so first you have to figure out what's not working for them. And if you solve that, usually you can write something that will work for everybody concerned. So that's what we do.
We had a friend who was a strong writer, and she had written an action film. And the executive said, look, after Act 1, Act 2, the whole middle of the film, it really drags. And so that upset her because she had nonstop action. And she said, well, let me look at that, because she had the experience to not jump, because she got really angry because it was so breakneck action. But then she thought about it and she said, oh, the reason it doesn't feel engaging isn't because there isn't enough action, but because in Act 1, I did not set up the characters sufficiently that there was enough at stake. So what she did was, she enriched the characters in Act 1, slowed down Act 2, and because she had more character moments. And then she gave it back to the executive, and the executive said, oh, now it really crackles along. So her takeaway from that was that the executive was right, that one started to get impatient in Act 2, and it felt like it was slow because there was no connection to the characters. And so the instinct was right, but she was not a writer and had no idea how to solve it. But it was the writer's job to say there is something wrong, and she solved it by just helping the character arc, and then it worked. So then she thanked the executive and said, "You were really right. You had a very good instinct. It was dragging."
And therein hangs the tail.
Yeah.
So yes,
Adam
David.
has to leave.
Adam has to leave.
Okay, so we have to pop over to
Well,
Adam.
we'll do Adam, and then we'll do two of the people who are in New York because it's
Okay.
pretty late for them. So Adam, go for it.
Adam? Okay.
Yeah, he's doing it.
Thanks, guys. Hi. Adam Sartain, actor, voice actor, and musician, and I guess Zoom actor now. I just got back from our first performance of Animal Farm, which went very well.
Great.
As you can see the curtain behind me. And also, another thing I do is I am a producer on Space Command.
Yay!
So I just did that. Been having some voiceover stuff and been slowing down a bit, but thankfully, because a lot of my time is being taken up by Space Command.
Yay!
And the play. So so that's about it for me. Also tonight, the reason why I have to leave early is I got invited to a invite only Burbank Film Festival thing, of which I got to be a judge.
Wow.
Of the film festival, I got to judge the for the composition category. Composition category.
Cool.
Which little do most people know, I have a degree in music, so I was able to actually use that in my analysis of the music.
So did you find within the scope of the music there was enough tuba?
There was never enough tuba, but I was able to overlook that.
That's great. Well, 3 cheers. Yay.
All right, thanks, guys.
Take care.
Sweet.
Take care, Adam.
Bye.
And so a couple things regarding Mr. Sci-Fi. I mentioned that I've got these great paperbacks for $1 or $2. Here's another one. This is Kiss Me Deadly by Mickey Spillane. So that's pretty fun, from 1950 or 51. So that's
Nice and lurid.
pretty lurid cover and pretty wonderful. And
My first friend's mother was in that movie.
wow,
Really?
that's good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. So which
She walked by, and I don't know what. I think she was buying her part.
that's fun though. That's fun.
But I met the friend when we were 2, and I remember the mom telling her. I mean, I think the movie came before all that.
Yeah, we just watched the movie when we were up in Morro Bay. It was really fun. And then also we were talking about The Thing, which was based on a novella by John W. Campbell called Who Goes There? And Dave, this is the, just for your information, this is the first edition signed by the author, which is pretty cool, with a great, great cover by a writer, by an artist named Hannes Bach.
Okay, you win.
And I also have the photoplay edition, the hardcover from the 50s version, and I got that signed by John Carpenter, which was also very, very fun. So it's cool stuff.
Okay.
So great. So is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question?
The film was a lot of fun, particularly when you consider no CGI.
That's right. Exactly. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, David?
Indeed. What would be Wilhelm Sowers?
Hi, Wilhelm.
What would be considered off limits when it comes to Space Command content?
Well, let's see. The orgy scene, I guess. I mean, basically, the whole idea with Space Command is that it's essentially a family show. I mean, Elaine basically put some cursing in the scene she wrote, but essentially, it's a family show. So we wouldn't have gratuitous violence. We wouldn't have brutality presented in a positive light. I just posted on Facebook. The solution to brutality is not more brutality. So I think that the solution to brutality is empathy, actually.
And
but
the irrelevant person.
What?
The irrelevant person.
We wouldn't have the irrelevant person. Etc. There's a lot of stuff. But okay, cool. So Irina, you've been sitting for a while, so why don't you take your turn? Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
It was good to see that you were able to get away for your birthdays.
Yes,
wonderful.
it was very fun.
75 degrees as opposed to 100.
Yes, yes, very nice.
Well, we had a very, very hot July here.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so just, haven't seen you in a while, wanted to catch up, and do have a question.
Yes.
So one of the series that I'm shooting right now, a comedy series that I'm producing with my friend in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday we had a, virtual meeting over Zoom with the producer who's coming on board, primarily dealing with marketing and packaging the project, with the idea to get some funding, sponsors, etc., etc. So this is like very new situation for me. I'm so used to producing everything, and it's actually great, to have this kind of help. So I know with the feature films, producers that usually bring funding on board,
Yes.
their fee is 20%, if I'm correct.
Well,
So I'm curious to know if it's the same like for the industry in general, because this is, I guess, technically like a web series, but we are planning on kind of shopping it around.
yeah, finder's fees, that basically goes under finder's fees, and the larger the budget, the smaller the percentage. So I don't know if you want to address
the one
that.
thing that you might want to look toward, because there are a lot of people who say, hey, Wild West, I'll take whatever I want.
Yeah.
And they're pretty extravagant with themselves. When a bank, if you have to work with a bank, looks at that line, at least a couple of years ago, the financial fees, which is a specific line item, if it's more than 10%, they will consider you inexperienced and walk away and not help you.
Yeah.
So you might check with the bank. According to the SEC, again, there are strict limitations, but a lot of people really push that, but there are very strict limitations, which in terms of percentage, and that is based on whether or not the finder actually gets you the money, or whether they just say, filmmaker, I'd like you to meet a rich person. Then it's like 5%, 10% if they actually get you the money. But I've seen it really be going through the roof because they just take advantage of hungry filmmakers. But they are pushing the ethical situation, and you might go to a film-friendly bank and say, what would you find acceptable, and then take that back to the person who's trying to get through the roof money.
Yes.
Yeah, Irina, it's 5%.
5%?
Someone's asking you for more than 5% just as a finder's fee. It's extremely unethical and might even get legal. But
well, there you
it's
go.
true about the sliding scale. The more money it is, the lower it goes.
If
if
it's
3 million, it's 5%. If you get 100 million, it's 2%. If you get 500 million, it's 1%. It slides.
Yes. And
this project, I don't think we're going to be dealing with banks, so I think it's going to be a lot lower.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more, I guess, like private equity and maybe more like crowdfunding and product placement. Definitely, she did mention that.
Okay.
So if
20% is outrageous. I've never heard of anyone even accepting that.
Yeah, I mean, if they want to do things that are illegal and unethical, they should be in politics.
But yeah, the only time I've heard the SEC approve 10% is if they're actually acting as a partial sales agent, and they're actually getting you the money, and they do the sale.
Yeah.
But 5% just to do the introduction should be
again,
the SEC has rules.
Yeah.
Sales agents are 10%. That's a pretty standard thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because most likely she will step in that role as well. So she's gonna be basically also shopping around for distribution.
Okay.
And possibly getting pickup, for actually like a full half an hour show, things like that. Yeah, it's a little bit different.
But then it's 10%, not 20.
10%.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
That's good to know.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing I asked this question because I misread somewhere because I was researching so much about the financial part of the producing because that's one thing I lack.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it's stuck in my head 20%. So it's my mistake.
Well,
nope.
No, but I've heard that asked for a lot because there are wolves out there, and there are many of them.
Yes, but but that's good. That's fine. So anything else?
Well, just a good question for David. Just wanted to follow up as far as the behind the scenes, because I know you're going to be getting back in action.
Oh, God, yes. Can you please email me again about that? If you know what I've done in the last 3 weeks, you understand why I'm doing that. I promise I'll talk to you about that. We can get that together soon.
Great.
Okay.
Cool. So I'll email you and also have some good developments. Something has changed in my financial.
Cool.
Hopefully, it's changing in my financial situation. So definitely next year, I have a plan to figure out, how to make it to LA. So.
Cool.
Wow, okay.
Yay. So great. 3 cheers.
Thank you.
So great. So David, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
And then we'll go to Judy,
Yes,
who's also awake in you.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Listening to Cave of Night radio drama.
Yes.
Notices similar. This is Robbie Riley Esquire, by the way. Robbie notices similarity to Capricorn 1.
Yes.
He wrote James Gunn last week, and he said Cave was made into a teleplay with Dean Marvin. Have you ever heard of it?
I haven't, and so I'll have to get into that and check it out. So I'll come back with more information in the near future. Now, a lot. It's interesting because the science fiction stories of the 50s, there were 2 great radio shows. One was X-1 and the other was Dimension X. They were terrific adaptations of the stories from Galaxy Magazine and Astounding Science Fiction Magazine. And then there was a show called Tales of Tomorrow that was a live TV show in the 50s that did some very interesting adaptations of science fiction stories. So there was a lot of live TV in the 50s that did science fiction. And for instance, there was an Alfred Bester script called A for Android. And that was done, again, live on TV in the 50s. And a lot of this stuff no longer exists. You can't find it. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff being done at that point. And in fact, Damon Knight, who wrote To Serve Man, the original short story, was a script writer on Tom Corbett's Space Cadet for a while. So that's, it's interesting who did various things for slumming sake. So, yep, so great. So Judy, I guess you're up if you're still there. Are you there, Judy? Judy, have you gone away? There you are. Hi, Judy.
Hi, Judy.
So unmute. There you go. Hi.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
So cute. I loved your pictures.
Thanks. Thanks.
Very cute. So I'm in New York.
Great.
So I've kind of been like MIA the last month because my apartment supposedly had bed bugs.
Oh,
no.
Jesus.
And I didn't have him anyway because when I saw a bug and the exterminator after I packed my whole apartment up said it wasn't a bed bug.
Huh. Well.
But I spent a month without an apartment and living in plastic things, so I haven't been here. I just got back today and had to unpack
Wow.
my entire place.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, but good things are Monday, the TV series that I did in France is coming out on
Yay.
television.
Yes.
Starts Monday. It's going to be 3 weeks in a row. It's
Wow.
6 episodes, and I'm in 4 of the 6.
Great.
Wow.
Great.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to see that, and I get to get tape from that.
Mabel.
I don't know when it's coming. It'll be online on this. I don't know where.
Sure. Cool.
It'll be streamed here as well. It's
Great.
Boyish in the English version of it is Boyish.
Uh-huh. Huh.
1920s period piece.
Great.
And also, I just about finished my music video for Pathy Ooh La La, the song that I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
I want to try to, if I can get the finishing things on it, I want to try to release it next week on YouTube. And if you have any suggestions on how to, how to release a song.
Well, the trick is always to find the way.
Music video for a song.
Yeah. The trick is always how are you going to get people to pay attention,
Right.
and so there are a lot of people who've been releasing music videos who are table members. So I'd put out an email to ask for anyone's advice on that, because with Mr. Sci-Fi, I just sort of started Mr. Sci-Fi, and over several years, I built up to where I now have millions of hits. But it took time, and of course, I was posting a lot of content. So in terms of releasing like one thing, there's ways to really make it take off. But I'm not the one who's the expert on that stuff. So I would definitely put it out at the table, because you'll find people who really do know.
So did the table address change? Because I posted, I just made 2 posts, but I didn't see it. Like I didn't get.
Do you have a Gmail account?
I have a Gmail account. Is it table at list?
If you have if you have Gmail account, it won't show up on your email. Okay, when you post.
It doesn't show up.
No, it doesn't. It's just the way Gmail works. So the way you can make sure it goes through is just if you have another friend who's on the table email, just say, "Hey, I just posted. Let me know when it appears." You know, because that's how you can know. Like Elaine gets the emails that I post, but I don't see them in my email feed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Judy, if you'd like, I do PR, so if you'd like, I'd be happy to give some suggestions.
Great.
Oh, thank you, Rhonda.
Cool.
I mean, I'll wait for your email to the table, I guess. And then I can respond.
Great.
And then respond back. Yeah, and if you don't, you can put in the chat like your email if you for some reason don't see it. I did what I sent to the table right now was about that my series is coming out on Monday on Friends Television, and also I'm doing a fundraiser as well right now for my documentary. The Run Renya, it's now called Run Renya, about my mom, a hidden child in the Holocaust.
Great.
Who escaped by herself at 6 years old. And I started doing a fundraiser on Facebook because in the middle of the night I woke up, I said, I need money. I have no money to pay my corporate taxes. I can't pay an editor. I need to finish this. And my goal is to get it out by the end of the year. I can't travel with my mom, but as time passes, she's getting older.
Yes,
and
that's what happens.
I have to finish it one way or another.
Yes.
Like I have a lot of footage shot already. I have, like 50 hours of footage shot from Germany and Switzerland, and we may not be able to go to France to do the whole escape part. But so I'm doing the fundraiser right now on Facebook, and I wanted to share it with the table, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I just sent an email, like sharing the website.
Have you ever reached out to the Shoah Foundation to see if they have grants?
The Shoah actually used to take projects on. I did speak with them. People over there, and what happened was the moment I went there, I went to LA, I was talking to people, and they said that Steven Spielberg had cut funding. He wanted other wealthy Jews to step in and take over. So that was like when I went there, it was over a year ago. So I don't know if something changed.
You might want to, you might want to check, because of course people being stuck at home, probably a lot of people are endowing different funds because they're not using their money the way they normally do. So, because again, it's your story is a worthy story. So,
Yeah, I want to get it out there, and I want it finished.
Yes.
So I can move on to other things.
Yes.
That really needs to be out in the world.
Right. Exactly.
So I've raised like $1,200 so far, like from the fundraiser. For
Great.
about a week I've done fundraiser, but I put the goal as 100,000.
Yeah, you still have a little way to go.
I know. So I've done that, and then my TV, the web series that I've been working on, I completely had to stop because of the download scare. Because I had no part. It was like one thing after another was happening, like where I just could not do it. It was just impossible to do it. So now that I came back in today, we'll see about.
Whoa! Look out. Yes.
I'm in the middle of figuring that out too. So. Doing one project at a time. So it's been good.
Okay.
It's been good today.
Good for you.
Good.
I'm doing nothing. I've done nothing this past month except live at other people's places because I couldn't stay here.
Yes.
So today, starting now, it's kind of like and I'm doing Tony Robbins right now. I've been doing the Tony Robbins challenges. I'm doing Build Your Brand, and I'm creating a class about how to be an international award-winning actress.
That's fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I decided yesterday, so I started creating it yesterday, how to be able to work anywhere in the world, and
great.
That's one of my many classes that I'm going to be doing.
Cool. Great.
I turned hardship into go from adversity to lightness and success.
That's great. Well, 3 cheers. Yay,
I just double checked. I believe I'm getting your posts.
Yeah, so she is getting your table emails.
Yeah,
Elaine is getting your table emails.
Yes.
You got it?
Yeah,
Good,
so
good.
it goes. It's going through. So
Ryan
great.
got it too.
Terrific.
Great.
Terrific.
Yay.
Great.
Yeah.
3 cheers. Thanks, Judy. So David, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes, there is. This is a question / comment. It says, Scott Gamble says he remembers the Max Factor Pro line. A favorite with many professional MU artists. It was a sad day when they shut the line down after like 50 or 60 years and went into all consumer fashion stuff.
Yes.
You remember that?
Well, it's fun because the Max Factor building is still here in Hollywood, and I think it's a Hollywood museum now. There was a Max Factor museum for a while. It was a museum of his career, but the building's really cool looking and very, very, very glamorous. So yeah, there's some really cool history to Hollywood. Absolutely. So let's see, Mark Agushwich, I think you're up. Go for it.
Finally.
Yay.
Hello. Hi. My name is Mark. I'm an editor, filmmaker, podcaster. Next episode of the podcast will be up next week sometime with a stunt guy, the lead stunt guy on Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Wow.
And if you want to check it out, it's called the Screen Forum. We're looking for reviews. If you give us a review, we'll read it on the show if that's any incentive. Anyway, so short film's still moving forward very slowly with the graphics guy. Earl is working hard on the music still, but it's coming along pretty well. When I talked to him originally about it, I told him I wanted strings to be the basis. And he put in this piano, which I didn't ask for, but I ended up really liking, so that is a good thing.
Cool.
As I started listening to it, I started hearing the piano. I'm like, what's this? And then all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, I really like this. so that's a good thing. That was a nice surprise. But other than that, I mean, I'm just working, I'm editing. I wanted to, since everybody's showing everything, 2 weeks ago, Mark, you talked about William Malone in a movie called Creature.
Yes.
And so I have this sitting on my shelf called Titan Find, which is actually the director's cut of that.
Wow.
It's a really hard to find movie. It was only out for a short period before they pulled it, and it's signed right here.
Wow.
So this is something I'm actually really proud of. So when you mentioned it, I'm like, well, I have that.
That's fun.
Oh, that's great.
That's fun.
And for people who don't know, because somebody last week was asking about B movies, it's one of the few decent Alien ripoffs. Like most of the Alien ripoffs just suck. This one's not like it's not Alien, but it's at least pretty decent to sit through. At least this director's cut is.
How fun.
Pretty interesting to sit through.
Huh. Yes.
Yeah.
This is the Alien ripoff I worked on Roger Corman.
I've seen that one too. It's a long time ago though.
That was production designer was James Cameron.
Wow.
Isn't that guy, what's his name from the Waltons in it?
Yeah, yes, there's. Yes, that was John Boy was in that. Thomas. It was also with Ray Walston, Aaron Moran from Happy Days. He collected up all the people he could find and put that in there. Solomon King is in it acting. It's quite a production. Edward Albert Jr.
Wow.
Wow.
Great.
Well, and if I remember right, it's an interesting movie in that Roger Corman kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I love Roger Corman movies, especially the ones that are so bad that they're so good.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So how are you doing?
But anyway, so I've been okay busy. It's not paying a lot, but at least I got work coming in. You know, somebody's been sending me some stuff, and but I've decided over the last couple of weeks I'm not going to let clients push me around anymore. And this morning I was very kind of proud of myself because a client was trying to get a lot more from me than they were paying for, and I finally just said, no, I'm sorry, you're going to have to pay more.
Yes, good.
There's a certain point where it gets ridiculous, and they told me some project was done. I sent it to them, and then today they come back and it's a ton of notes that they could have had before, and I was just like, well, you know, I sent you the finish, so now we're in a new contract. So because I have a tendency to let people, because I need the work to kind of do things for people, do a lot of favors, and I just decided it's time to stop being that, because then you don't enjoy the work anymore, and I've been finding myself in certain jobs not enjoying it anymore.
Sure.
And if people are pushing you around, so. But anyway, that's me. I don't think I really have anything else to report. I'm just trying to think, but yeah, no, I'm just been busy editing. Same old news.
Okay. Cheers. Yay. So, David, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes, there is. Let's see here. In The Thing, an actor who played a scientist had so much trouble with his double lines, he gave up acting and went to be Groucho Marx's foil on You Bet Your Life. George Fenneman.
Yes, yeah, George Fenneman's terrific, and he was a great foil to Groucho on You Bet Your Life, and yes, he is in The Thing. And James Arness, of course, is the monster in that movie before he became Matt Dillon on television's Gunsmoke. So there's a lot of interesting little footnotes to that movie. So cool. So okay, so I guess
brother of Peter Graves from Mission Impossible and
yes,
Airplane.
Yes, yeah,
yes, exactly. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I guess Hayden Wilder, are you there? Are you or are you there, Hayden? Where's Hayden gone? There you are. Hi. So go for it.
So I don't really have that much to add. That to like say like. Otherwise, this is the first one I'm doing.
Great.
I have this paperback of From Russia with Love from 1960s that ties in with the movie.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's great. That's great. No, paperbacks are terrific. By the way, there's a paperback collector's show that happens once or twice a year. I don't know if they're doing it during the pandemic, probably not. But I went to the one before the pandemic, and it's great. So I highly recommend it because they have authors go and sign their books. Guys like William F. Nolan and Don Glut and so forth. It's really fun. But go ahead, please.
I mean, I'm usually an actor and sometimes singer. Been lately trying my hand at more editing.
Yes.
Stuff just because I like kind of want to do everything. I guess like in a way, just try it all.
Yes.
I've been recently working on kind of sort of a comedy show on YouTube, and it's promising. So that's it.
Great. Okay. Well, that's fine.
Do you have any questions?
Any questions? Like comedy ideally should be funny, of course.
Yeah.
What's it called? Is it available currently?
I'm sorry?
Is it currently available on YouTube?
No, I'm just writing it right now.
Okay, sure. That's great. Well, congrats. 3 cheers. Yay. And by the way, Ron DeMont, who's one of our friends and Space Command supporters, just sent me this cool mask made up of Star Trek comic book covers. So, so it's definitely me. And so I'll be wearing some of these Star Trek covers. And I actually own the original versions of these comic books. So it's pretty fun. Here it is over here for the.
Hayden was referred to us to me by Don Balderrama, so I suggested he stop by the table.
Yeah. Well, you're always welcome here, Hayden. And David Bartlett can sign you up for the table email where you can send one request out to all several thousand members, and it's a very powerful tool. And when the pandemic's over, we'll be meeting every Thursday in person, which will be very, very interesting, except it'll be a downside for the people who aren't in LA, but it'll be an upside for the people who are.
What area are you in?
Where are you located?
I am in Studio City.
Oh, okay.
So that's
very
close. Yeah. Great. Terrific.
Very close to where we are.
So great. Yay. 3 cheers, Hayden. Yay.
He had a couple of short films that he sent me, and only had a chance to watch one of them because somebody's keeping me busy. But yeah, really good, really nicely done.
Great. That's great. So David, do we have another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yeah, there's a couple things here. One is
Sure.
There's a tiny correction. That is the one comment is, has anyone not gotten their start with Roger Corman? On that note, the Richard Thomas was in Battle Beyond the Stars.
Yes.
Which was from Corman's ripoff of Star Wars.
Yes.
So
Yes.
to make that clear.
Well, you could also say it's this ripoff of the Magnificent Seven, which is the ripoff of the Akira Kurosawa's film, so it's the Seven Samurai. So
It comes back to Hidden Fortress. I mean, it's just
right, it's exactly. But c'est la vie. Okay.
Did you ever read the BBC radio version of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Yes.
And it says, funniest I've ever heard, it makes you think. And there's also a great audiobook version that's a complete book read by the author Douglas Adams that came out in 1991.
Yeah, I am. Well, first of all, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a terrific piece of work, and Douglas Adams was an amazing guy. I actually met him. There was a science fiction interview show called Hour 25 that was on KPFK for many years, and I was interviewed one night on that show, and the other guest that night was Douglas Adams. So it was really really wonderful to meet him. He was a really charming fellow, and it's really a shame. He died at the gym, interestingly enough. He really died prematurely. Very, very sad. But the last book he was writing is a book called The Salmon of Doubt. And what he had written was put together in book form, even though it wasn't completed. And there's some very interesting bits and pieces in that piece of work. And there's an audio book of it as well as the physical book, and it's definitely worth checking out. And he also wrote a series called Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, which is more of an acquired taste than Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but he's definitely one of a kind. And they've been trying to do sequels to Hitchhiker's Guide, both in novel form and in radio adaptations, but they just don't have the unique quality that Douglas Adams had. So I really haven't liked them as much. Yeah, they're very disappointing. So
the TV show was low budget, but really nicely done. But the film just
it didn't work. And the TV show, is really funky and strange, but it has some of the original cast members from the radio show, and so that's pretty cool. And there's a lot of cool stuff to be found in Hitchhiker's Guide. So let's see. So David Bartlett, do you want to take your turn?
Sure. David Bartlett. I am a filmmaker, a teacher, and human rights advocate, and I am also the co-producer of Space Command.
Yay!
Yes, I'm also the producer of the visual effects. I do all the color correcting. I'm in charge of all the crowdfunding. And there's quite a few other things. But the fun thing now is we've got a studio that's almost finished, which I'm also doing.
Great.
And these sets are almost done. We're right around the corner from doing some more filming in another 2 or 3 weeks.
Neat.
So if you're interested at all in working on Space Command with either a paid position or a volunteer position, now is the time. I send people with masks and we're COVID friendly. In fact, my sister and I are getting COVID certified on Tuesday.
Great.
And we have 6 feet rules, and we have, we're very careful with things and stuff. So if you want to still work on a show that's about to be filming, we can offer that to you.
Yeah.
So you can write an email to me about that.
Cool.
You can also write an email to me if you want to join the table email. Now, the rule about the table email is that you have to have a first and last name that is your full first and last name, the name of your email address.
So in other words,
you have Mogi Pie 12, you have to have your full name in it.
Unless your real name is Moogie Pie 12, but then it would work.
It would qualify.
Right. But so he's talking like David Bartlett at gmail.com, that kind of thing.
Exactly. So you can get that email first and then send it to me.
Yeah.
If you request the table email, I'll get you set up.
Right.
So, as far as I'm going, most of my life has been consumed by Space Command.
Yay.
And, I guess as it should. But
Yes.
I've also done some writing on my own, and I'm having some interesting time with fiction writing. Which is something I've done in the past, but haven't in a long time. So that's been really exciting for me. As the 5 minutes I have to spare between I'm trying to get enough sleep and build sets in the studio. So, but it's fun because we're almost done with the first initial stage of the studio. We'll be able to shoot green screen and sync sound, and in a decent sized studio. The studio is 1,200 square feet for filming. And then we have a scene dock and a second construction area, so we're really set up to do a lot of work. And it's fascinating because we have such a good arrangement with the people that the facility that we're renting in is an industrial complex. They have other units that might be vacant for a month or 2 at a time, and we're now allowed to rent them without any deposit for as little as a day or 2. So we're going to expand into a larger space for a short term and build up that, shoot in it, and strike it down again, not have to keep paying this gigantic overhead every month. So it's really very interesting time.
Great.
That's kind of it for me,
Cool.
I guess.
Well,
I don't know, I really talked about my background. I've worked on over 140 feature films. I've worked on Speed and Pulp Fiction and Total Recall and some other films like that when I was younger. Then I got out of that and got into more independent films so I could do my own producing and directing. And now I have 64 film festival awards.
Great.
So if you have any interest in what it's like to work in the 80s and the 90s and the big budget studio films,
yes.
or make a bunch of independent films and win awards, I can help you with both of those.
That's great. That's great. And David, I don't know if you know about this. You may, but I've won a number of awards, but my favorite probably of all of them is I was presented with a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Cardiff International Film Festival when Elaine and I were there. And the way that happened was about day 2, I think. They came to me and they said, listen, we were going to present the Lifetime Achievement Award to this Indian guy who's this filmmaker, but he has to fly back to India as because he's being, he's involved in a lawsuit, and we only want to give the award to someone who's here actually in person. So would you accept it if we gave you his award, but made it for you? And I said, well, that's fine, of course. So I got a Lifetime Achievement Award because by default. So yeah, it's great. It's great. I have no pride. I have no pride. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, David?
Sure. First of all, Robbie Riley Esquire says, awesome mask.
Thank you.
Have you ever read any Robert E. Howard novels?
Yes, but not a lot. It's like Conan just doesn't really thrill me much. And again, he was a very interesting man, and there's a very good film made about him. I can't remember the name of it off, but it had Renee Zellweger in it. It's a really interesting film. But yeah, he was a very strange man, and Conan, of course, was his great creation. He wrote a ton of stuff and died pretty young. And but again, the science fiction and fantasy literature is filled with these strange characters who live these very internal lives. H.P. Lovecraft is another one of those, and so so they're very interesting as people, and the fact that their work has outlived them is a testament to the passion that they brought to their writing. But I haven't gone deeply into Robert E. Howard, though I do actually have one of his books here. A great paperback from the 50s. At some point I'll show it to everybody, but probably not now because I'm not seeing it easily gettable at the moment. So let's see, who else do we have? Thane, I guess. Thane, you're up. Go for it.
Okay, somehow between 10 o'clock this morning when I was on Zoom and now video process is not processing, so we'll just stick with losing Ferguson there next to me from a film I was in a while back. I'm a SAG-AFTRA character actor. Been working on a variety of things to maintain sanity and try to be active during this rather interesting times. A film I was in a year ago by an Italian director has been selected for the We Make Movies International Film Festival, which will be playing mid-September. And it's I'm the husband of a woman who has Alzheimer's, and it's a tragic world when you see bright, capable people slipping away.
Yes.
And a lot of work for the caregiver. At any rate, 5 of us have started a little group on Tuesday night called Friends Circle Night. We're doing on Zoom, which allows people to present current work or work in progress. And once a month, talent show, talent show, started by a Chinese producer, and originally it was all to be done live. And of course, just about the time we were ready to go live, well, the corona impact hit us. And so in order to keep things going, we started the Tuesday night event. At any rate, it's challenging times, I think, for everyone, realizing that I'm not alone, and coming to this meeting and a couple of others on Zoom has really provided me with the opportunity to stay active and maybe stay a little sane. That's never been my strong suit, but at any rate, so just staying with it and looking forward to times when we can do other things. Once in a while, I've been able to audition. I auditioned for a role as a sheriff last week. No Country for Old Men was the descriptor. I also played No Country for Old Men 2, the sheriff, and So that was it was a nice reconnect. So we'll see if that comes up.
That's
At
fun.
any rate, I'm available and working hard and staying sane. My solo show, I've decided, is ready to record on my computer for myself, mostly to get a sense of how much time it takes. I know how many pages is written, but I want to know what it sounds like. A, how it sounds, and B, how long the show might run if we were to do it as a online event.
Cool. That's great. So, anything else, Thane?
Nope.
Okay.
Just staying in touch.
Cool. Well, good to see you.
And happy birthday.
Thank you.
I'm glad to know you avoided those fires up
Yes.
to the north.
Yeah, it's difficult times in many parts of the country, God knows.
Yeah.
But thanks. But it's good to hear your voice and see that cute photo of you with whatever the hell that is. So
That's Ferguson. Apparently, it was a boyfriend that she couldn't get rid of, and that was the way she showed him in the movie.
Well, there you go.
I played a homeless guy.
Of course. So, so that's great, though. 3 cheers. Yay. So do we have another Mr. Sci-Fi question, David?
I just got word from Jennifer Biederman. Her Wi-Fi went down and she logged off the meeting. She really enjoyed it a lot.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Something went wrong.
Thanks. That's fine, Rhonda. Thank you. So another Mr. Sci-Fi question, David?
Yes. Scott Gamble asked Mark and Lane,
Hi,
have you
Scott.
seen those CBS Star Trek things yet?
I saw. Yeah.
I saw them recently on YouTube. Wonder what you folks thought about them.
I saw the first season ones, which were variable. Though the one with the guy dancing with the hologram was nice. I haven't watched these new ones. I'm getting very, very, very tired of Star Trek, simply because the new incarnations are wearying. I watched all of Picard. I watched the first 2 seasons of Star Trek Discovery, and it's like it's just much as I'd love to love it, I just find the characters tedious and it's just I don't know. Maybe it's that I'm in a different place in my life, which is possible, or it could be that it's just not of the quality. I mean, it's just there's such chaos to the plotting. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or vice versa, and you just get tired of kind of like complicated, ultimately meaningless plotting. And at least I do, and so I'd rather be doing Space Command. So let's see, who else do we have? Earl, let's do you, Earl, and then we'll go from there.
Hey everybody, Earl F. Smith, multi-award-winning composer, sound designer, sound editor.
Yay.
So as you heard Mark earlier, I've been working on Mark's film.
Mark Gushowitz.
I've been teaching students. That's about all for me. Just checking in. Wish you guys a happy birthday.
Thanks.
Mine's coming up soon too.
Oh, really?
Yay.
Oh, that's both wonderful, and I'm sorry you're getting older too.
Well, consider the alternative, Elaine. It's yeah. So, but no, that's great.
So I'll say, yeah, interesting process getting in Mark's head to see his vision and to know what he wants for the film, which is a high priority. I think as a composer, it's my job to provide the direction of what the director wants, and it's customer service.
And he liked your piano. You sold him.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, he said
Yeah,
that.
I told him that I didn't ask for a piano, and then when it came in, I was kind of like, "What's this?" And then I ended up really liking it. So, and what's it like in my head?
No, it's just to see the perspective in which his perspective of the film is different than I think what most people would just assume in the beginning, which is a great thing. So I've been giving a lot of thought, especially in our last meeting on Monday, and trying to find unique ways to enhance the picture with music without being too look at me kind of ordeal. which, you know, when that happens, you can come up with a new sound or a new idea that people aren't necessarily always doing, and which can end up being a trendsetter. So I'm thinking of it in that approach. One of my college professors is Gary Scheinman, and he's a composer that did all the music for the BioShock movies. And he did just that, which set a new type of sound. So if I can do that for Mark's film, that would be very awesome.
Cool.
So that's kind of what I've been working towards and trying out a lot of things. And in the process, I've written a lot of music, and I'm like, this is cool, it works, but you know what? No.
Great.
So,
That's
but
great.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Yay. 3 cheers, Earl. So, David, do we have another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Indeed.
Yes.
Robbie Riley Esquire.
Hi, Robbie.
Yes. What's your view on the shiny, sleek design of Elon Musk's Mars rocket Starship? Looks like it came
It's
right
great.
out of a 50s sci-fi movie or comic.
Yeah, I've actually got a model of it on my bookcase in my office. It's great.
Someone mentions that too.
Yeah, I think it's true. Yeah, it's terrific. It's absolutely terrific. I never dreamed that we would ever see something like that in the real world. And the fact that he's gone back to that is just thrilling. And he's very much a Heinlein kind of hero. He's one of these crazy rich guys who's financing a trip, you know, a manned mission to Mars. That's just too cool. You know, it's just great. It's just great. And, you know, also I noticed there was another question about Axiom's End, which is a book I sort of have on my to read list. I just haven't gotten to it yet, but we just recently were reading the Murderbot stories, and those are pretty fun by Martha Wells. And we'll see. I mean, we read the first one, which we enjoyed, and on a drive we listened to the audiobook of it. But I have to see if the other Murderbot stories are diminishing returns or keep up the quality. So okie doke. And so let's see. Now there's a second John Watson. Is that a different John Watson? Are you there? The different.
I'm told it's not. I'm told it's the same person.
It's the same one. Okay. So Gino, I guess that leaves you.
Hello, Gino. Are you there?
Is he there? Gino, are you there?
Connecting to his audio.
Connecting to his audio. Okay, well, see if it connects. And
Camera either.
uh-oh, look out. Connecting to audio.
That notice has been going on for a while.
Yeah. Well, maybe what we should do is do Elaine's turn and then come back to Gino if he connects, you know.
So let me give you one more little group of
Sure.
comments here.
Sure.
Mark Lungo says, glad to have you back, Mark and Elaine.
Thanks.
Rose Kirby says, hope everyone is safe and well, and you both had a great birthday.
We did.
We did.
And Mark got a haircut, looks good.
Thanks. I did it myself.
You did, yeah.
I have a great skill at cutting my own hair, but I would never dare to try to cut Elaine's because that's beyond the pale. But
What flavor ice cream were you eating in that picture?
in the picture, which picture? Oh, that I was eating cookies and cream, and Elaine was eating coffee. There's a really good ice cream van in Harmony, California, which is a town made up of 18 people, and it's really a cool place, and I highly recommend it. So absolutely. So cool.
And,
So
one last thing.
yes.
Ansel Bain says, hi from New Zealand. Looking forward to more good, hopeful futures sci-fi. That type sci-fi and the right stuff that encourages, not depress. Keep it up.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. So Elaine, why don't you have your turn?
Gino.
Oh, well,
We've got
Gino.
Gino.
Wait, where is Gino? Oh, there you are, Gino. Yeah, go for it.
Hey, Gino. Welcome.
Oh, hi, thank you. Okay, hi, folks. Hi, Gino, actor, filmmaker, comedian. Most of you know this, but I'm available for table reads. So let me know when I'm there, and if you're casting for any particular projects or whatnot, that I fit your characteristics or specs or whatnot, I'd be honored to read for you. And that's all I got for tonight.
Yay! Good to see you, Gino. Glad you could
Likewise,
sign on. So Elaine, did you want to take your turn? I know the dogs are getting a little restless.
Yeah, I have a feeling that I better.
Why don't you take your turn before?
Okay, just really quickly, because the dogs need something.
Attention.
Attention.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Question. Do you guys charge for table reads? Like how much do I have?
The table offers table reads. Now I guess it would be via Zoom, and that's free. So
It's
that's
just people volunteering.
I mean, Elaine and I were.
I mean, the actors.
Yeah, the actors don't charge anything.
No, it's volunteer.
Okay.
It's volunteer.
When we do it in person, the only fee is that you feed the people
You feed
something.
them. Yeah, you feed them. Yeah.
But you don't have to do that over Zoom.
Yeah.
You can,
Yeah. And Elaine and I, until recently, you could hire us to read scripts and give notes, but that was like $1,000, and we're really not doing it right now,
it's
simply
too
because
goony.
who needs money?
No.
But great. So go for it, Elaine. It's your turn.
Okay, I have to move quickly because the dogs
Quick.
Okay, just working along with trotting after Mark with Space Command, and he'll talk more about that while I'm walking the dogs.
Right.
And thanks to Mark, he got a couple of people interested in a screenplay,
yours?
a pilot
Yeah.
of mine called Harbor, which I'm currently, which I'd wanted to rewrite for a while, and so now I'm rewriting it, not extensively, just all the smelly parts. But there were. So I'm very glad to get my hands back onto it because I love the core characters and the core concept. It was just kind of messy structurally.
Well, actually, it's funny because Amazon has agreed to consider the script, and Joe Dougherty is going to be reading it to see if he might want to come aboard as showrunner. And my pitch on it was, it's like Fantasy Island if it were good. So it's like. So it's a charming script.
Yeah, but I'm just finishing the rewrite on that, and so that's taking up a lot of time. But that should be done in the next few days, and I'm very eager to get it out.
Yeah.
I always love any opportunity to write and rewrite.
Yeah, and Roadside Attractions is now reading Elaine's script, Snow Princess. So they're considering it. It's an amazing company, and I hope they say yes, because that would be great. So
it's been great seeing you. I would have spent a little more time, but the dogs are
giving her the dog,
okay,
the dog eye. Okay,
So,
yay, Elaine! 3 cheers, Elaine! Yay! Great. Okay. So another Mr. Sci-Fi question, David?
No, a couple comments. There's commenting on the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea adaptation was thought about in terms of sci-fi, and
Yes.
someone mentioned the black hole.
Yeah. Well, one thing I wanted to mention is years ago, just for my own entertainment and fun, there is a novel by Michael Crichton called Sphere, which is a science fiction underwater adventure that's much better than the film that was made of it. And it hadn't appeared unabridged on audio at that time. So I read the entire book onto cassette just for me and my friends, and Dave transferred it to a digital file. So I've now posted the entire book, my entire audiobook reading of it, on Mr. Sci-Fi. So you can find it on Mr. Sci-Fi, and it's like 8 hours long, and it's, in my opinion, very entertaining. And so I highly recommend Me. And it's just a fun. I love good underwater science fiction adventures. The Abyss is one of my favorite movies. The director's cut, of course, and etc. So definitely check it out. So cool. So now I guess it's Me, Wonderful Me. Back from Morro Bay, had a lovely time up there. We're working on a bunch of stuff. So as David Bartlett mentioned, we're about to start shooting the rest of Forgiveness, which is, we shot 1 hour of that. It's a Space Command story, and I've been approached. There's an anthology called Space 1975 that I'm going to be writing a Space Command story called Grizzled Space Jockey, which is about my character in Space Command and what happens to him. And with Sweet Haven, we had the first Zoom meeting with all of our cast. That's where everyone in the world under 60 dies, and the people who are 60 and over have to save the world. And it has Mike Harney and Mira Furlan and Bob Picardo and Barbara Bain and so on and so forth. And so we're going to do a table read of that, and then we're going to shoot it. So that's pretty cool. And so the pilot script is done, and everyone seems to love it. And beyond that, that's part of the Showrunners Network, where we're doing shooting 6 pilots and then taking it out as a slate of 6 shows. So that's in motion. And Mark Fergus and his partner are aboard on Fugitive Space, which is another one of our projects. And Mark Fergus and his partner wrote Children of Men and Iron Man, and adapted The Expanse for television, and are the showrunners on that show. So pretty cool. And then meantime, as Elaine mentioned, her script is being considered by Amazon, as is Fugitive Space and Sweet Haven. And I'm also writing the Greenlighting Yourself book, slowly but surely. And so it's all, moving along, getting it all nailed down. And that's sort of the main stuff. Tomorrow we're going to go to the studio and see the sets and all that stuff, and I'm looking forward to that very, very much. The alien spaceship, and you know, we're slaying this beast. And as Dave mentioned, we're getting all the visual effects done on the second hour of the pilot, Space Command pilot. And it's looking good. We just got to finish the rest of it. But obviously now that Tony is teaching himself visual effects, we've got someone else who can be part of that team. So thank God. And
You know what shots to send to him.
yeah, well, you can. Yeah, I told him that if he wants to practice on any of it, absolutely, absolutely. I think he's going to have an affinity for it. Quite frankly, I think he's going to be able to pick it up pretty well and pretty quickly. He's a smart guy, and he's building the futuristic Space Command car, and I think it's going to be terrific. It opens from the front, which is very cool. And I said, make sure it's air conditioned. So, because I do not want to be driving with this enormous front window with the sun beating down on me and you know, giving me a heat stroke, you know, but it's definitely going to be a cool thing. So, as you all know,
You're planning on taking this thing for a spin?
Of course. I remember when the various times I've seen the Wienermobile on the highway. That's just, you know, too cool. And I remember meeting little Oscar when I was a kid. He had been one of the Munchkins, I think, and then became little Oscar in the 60s. And that was, I mean, to come out of a gigantic hot dog car, you know, I mean, what could be better than that? And and we succeeded with our Kickstarter campaign, which is excellent. And you know, it's just it's a pretty exciting life. I mean, I don't have any complaints at all. Pandemic? What pandemic? But you know, it's really neat. And thank God for Zoom. I mean, it's given us a lot of possibilities. For anyone who wants to watch the various Space Command episodes, they're on Mr. Sci-Fi right now. And we've had millions of hits on these various things I've been posting, and that's very, very cool. We have 71,000 subscribers on Mr. Sci-Fi. If we hit 100,000, that gives us even more use of the space of the YouTube studio. So I'm sure that they're probably not using it right now because of the pandemic. But there will come a day when the pandemic will end, and then we can see what possibilities present themselves for us. So that's sort of the main stuff. Pretty cool. It's a very good life. So anyone else needs to mention before we go to our various and sundry fates?
I have a question, Mark,
Sure.
about the YouTube you just mentioned.
Yes.
After hitting that, you said 100,000.
Yes.
After 1,000, you're able to
If
connect with the studio.
once you have 100,000, once you have 10,000 subscribers, that gives you like a certain number of days per month that you can use their studio. And then once you hit 100,000 subscribers, you have a lot more stuff you can do at their studio. They've got equipment, they've got sound stages, they've got a Foley stage, they've got post-production facilities. It's pretty amazing. But I'm sure during the pandemic they're not letting people use it. But when that's over, it'll be a very different story. And many table members have YouTube channels that have over 100,000 subscribers. So there's a lot that can be done with that. So
And my next thought was maybe, I mean, since we're all a big family here, send out a message and so people can communicate on their YouTube to go subscribe to yours to get to that level.
Yes.
I'll do that with the people that I've been building up a fan base doing music, like singing cover songs and so forth. But I'm also interested in your process. If you could share, like once you hit that 1,000, what becomes more available to you?
It's mainly that you get to use a larger sound stage with more capability. They provide equipment. They've got cameras and sound equipment and lights and the whole 9 yards. You just have to bring in your people. But they provide all that stuff. And once you hit 100,000, I think you can get a week, something like that, per month that you can shoot. And but that includes setup and breakdown. So again, one has to figure that in too. But it's very powerful. They've got a green screen stage. I was given a tour of their facilities. It's impressive. And but again,
You're on your own now.
yeah. But I mean, but Ryan Husk, who's one of our table members and also in Space Command, he has a channel that already has over 100,000 subscribers, so he already qualifies. And so if you team with someone who has that many subscribers, you can utilize what he's doing with YouTube as well. And because you just need one person on your team who's got that. You don't need, right? So it's easier to collaborate with someone who's already got that, because then you don't have to, do as much heavy lifting. God knows.
But when you hit that level, so
yes.
say when you hit 1,000 and then you hit 100,000.
Yes.
My thought process is that when you run ads on YouTube, you have different access to actually have another form of income generated.
Yes.
By posting ads on your your content and that's what I'm trying to figure out and get to the bottom. So if you could,
they pay pretty. The ad content you get a pretty shitty return on that. So like I've gotten some months I'll get a few $100. Another I think at various points I've gotten maybe $1,200 in 1 month. The people who get millions of hits, like huge numbers of hits. Like there was one guy who posted a video about getting a free Tesla or whatever, something, and he got so many clicks on it, he was actually able to buy a Tesla with the ad revenue that he got for that one video. So that was pretty hilarious. But I think it was how to buy a Tesla for $70, and so that worked for him. But YouTube definitely has its upsides and its downsides, and so you also have to realize that if you click the add content button, they're interrupting your videos every few minutes too, and that becomes a pain in the ass. So for the viewers, so it's there's one has to just know what one's doing. But I love having my own YouTube channel. It's been enormously helpful in many ways, and so I highly recommend it, particularly if you have an enthusiasm or a knowledge on something specific like science fiction. I mean, Glenn Mazzara, who was the showrunner on Walking Dead, I was having lunch with him a few years ago, and he said you should have your own YouTube channel talking about science fiction. I wouldn't have done it otherwise, and it's worked out just great. It's super easy and enormously fruitful. So I view my YouTube channel mainly as a way of promoting myself rather than as a big engine to generate money. But as a publicity thing, it's great. It reaches out to a ton of people. So it's really great in that way.
And that's what I figured. I started looking at as music that I do. And for instance, like the last cover I did, I ended up getting, I think I'm at 16 new students.
Yeah. Yes.
So doing stuff and they see, oh wow, he can do this, oh wow, he can do that.
Yes.
And then if I maintain 50 students, that's $100,000 a year.
Yes.
But only 25 hours of work a week.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, well, I can use the other 25 hours that I would spend on something else.
Yes.
On project, film project.
Yes.
Charge, whatever less, but use what I'm doing.
Right.
To keep students coming in.
Yeah.
But that's the bread and butter.
Right. And you can also use it to find wealthy widows. That's another way of making it work.
I had one of those, and that was a problem.
Well, yeah, exactly. But the point is that again, everything one does should be for one of three reasons. Either it advances you artistically, it advances you for publicity's sake, or it brings you in money. Those are the three reasons to do something. And so I balance all three, but I'm very clear on what something is that I'm doing. A lot of people aren't clear on why they're doing something. They just think they should have a social media presence or whatever, and then they're bummed out that it's not generating money, but it could be generating publicity, which is a good thing. So the fact that I'm clear on that, then a few $100 or whatever is a bonus, but the publicity value is huge, and because it allows me. And there's a very interesting writer named Cory Doctorow, and he's a science fiction writer, and his philosophy is a very interesting one. All the writing he does, novels, short stories, essays, everything, he puts out for free on the internet, but he also publishes them as books that people can buy. And his fans buy his books, even though they can get all that content for free, because they have loyalty to him, and they recognize that if he doesn't get money, he can't continue making a living. So his strategy is that he puts it out for free to reach the widest possible audience, who then generates a core of solid fans who are willing to put out $20, once or twice a year as he publishes novels, to keep him successful. Very interesting philosophy. Very, very interesting. So, but I'm, but it's an amazing time we live in. So, anything else anyone needs?
That was great. Thank you,
Yeah,
Mark.
you bet. And so, well, great.
I have a quick question right now.
Yeah.
As far as
As far as
can
what?
you actually do one or campaign when you just have a script?
No,
I've seen
no,
that.
no,
You
no.
do that?
You can't, because the question is, it's clear how that money benefits you, but how does it benefit the person who's giving you that money? There has to be something that they get that's of value to them. It's always about them, not about you. Okay, so that's why, for instance, with Space Command, I wouldn't have just tried to raise money saying, hey, I'm Mark Zicree and I want to shoot something. No, I attached the actors and then I said, hey, here's this cool thing we all want to do. And the fans of those actors were a huge incentive because they wanted to see them in another space-going show, because Robert Picardo or Mira Furlan are all these great actors. So it always has to be what's in it for them. Just like if you went into a store and someone said, hey, give me $50, and you said, well, what do I get for it? And they say, well, nothing, but I want to buy myself this cool pair of shoes. You'd say, well, no. And so that's, one always has to have that in mind, and so that's yeah, exactly. So yeah. So anything else, guys? I think we've come to the end of our evening, and so we'll be here next Thursday. Thanks, Mr. Sci-Fi fans. Thanks, table guys, and we'll see you all next time. Great. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great week. Great. Bye, guys. See you soon.